Hi, everybody. It's Helen from the Squiggly Careers podcast. Before you listen or watch today's episode, I just wanted to let you know about some news that Sarah and I are very excited about, and that is that our Squiggly Careers Skill Sprint is back. This time, we are going to be sprinting in September, and the sprint will last for a week. Our focus is on the 5 Squiggly career skills. So that is strengths, values, confidence, network, and future possibilities. And we are going to be accelerating your development by adding in a little bit of AI. So there are some prompts for you to play with, there are some tools for you to try out, and we have got everything that you need to learn. So sign up to the sprint. Head to squigglysprint.com. Add your email in and we'll start to send you your Ready Steady Sprint guide. You can sprint together as a team, you can sprint on your own, whatever works for you, but we are going to make this as easy as possible for you to sign up, for you to start, and for you to stick to your sprint. So go to squigglysprint.com to get started now.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Helen.
And this is the Squiggly Careers podcast. Every week we talk about a different topic to do with work and share some ideas and actions to help all of us navigate these increasingly squiggly careers with that bit more confidence and control.
And this episode is part of a short series that we decided to do for the summer when we thought everyone could do with a little bit of inspiration, some ideas they can put into action. So we have taken our favourite quotes. I never really thought I would talk about Sarah having favourite quotes, but it turns out you do have some favourite quotes that inspire
So the
you.
one I've picked for the next episode, I don't even think is a quote. I was like, it's a definition.
It's a statement of intent.
It is a statement.
So we've taken our favourite statements of intent and quotes that have been helpful for us in our careers, and we have turned them into things that you can take action with. So this is the third episode in this series. The first one was a quote that's worked for me, which is run your own race. The second one was a quote which has worked for Sarah, which was never lived the same year twice. And today is back to me for my quote that feels useful for me in my career, which I think might be a bit contentious for people. We'll see. It works for me. I'm going to try and turn it into something that works for other people. So my quote that we're going to talk about today is challenge your limits. Don't limit your challenges.
And I've heard you say that before, but it always just takes me a moment, just to be like,
what does she mean?
Don't limit your yeah, okay. So talk to us about like where's that come from? And perhaps like what does that mean for you?
Yeah. Do you know what? I can answer one of those better than the other. So where's it come from? I can't really, I don't know. It's like these bits of wisdom. But if you think of that book, the book by Liz Gilbert, which is, the creative Big Magic. That's
yes,
it.
Yeah.
It talks about like the genius that comes into the room, and if you don't catch it, it goes on to somebody else. I feel like that's a bit like with me in quotes. They come in. I don't know where they come in.
No, you don't. Definitely. I really remember like the book, the origin story. Also, I've tried to talk you into like sharing origin stories. I remember when we were writing Gremlins, I was like, we need to do like the origin story. And I think you just don't connect to that, to like where things came from.
No. So I don't know. It came in to some kind of room or a book or something, the Challenger limit. So I can't answer that one, to be honest, but it did stick. And so what I can say is kind of, why did it stick? I think this really resonated with me around the time that we were starting Squiggly, because at the time, full-time job at Virgin, launching new business with Virgin, quite a lot going on. I think it was before I had my first child, so that wasn't quite happening. But there were lots of things starting to happen. So Virgin, Squiggly, the kid thing came on the agenda. It happened.
Knowing you, it probably wasn't an agenda.
It's probably on an agenda. And then obviously like MBA started. It was all kind of lots of stuff happening. And I got a lot of challenge from other people where I felt they were placing their limits on me. And I think with the challenge your limits thing, the word your is probably the most important thing for me in that quote, because what I started to feel that other people were saying to me, oh, you're gonna have to let something go. That's too much to do. You need to make a choice. Something's gonna break. You're gonna drop a plate. All of that chat.
Quite negative,
which I think was hopefully coming from a place of care. Like they didn't want me to, fail or not succeed, but it was also coming from their perspective of what's possible. And I believe that looks different for different people. And so I think that challenge your limits, don't limit your challenges really resonated for me, because it stopped me from letting go of things that were important to me because of what other people thought I could or couldn't do.
When you were in that moment, so I obviously remember you in that moment because we've known each other for so long now. There's not many moments I now don't remember about your life. But I do remember that being quite a stressful time
Hmm.
for you. I can conjure up images of us sitting in coffee shops and you like looking really quite like, wow, there is a lot happening at the moment. And definitely not the your reaction to that was not, well, let's take some things away.
Yeah.
It wasn't about subtracting. So how in that moment do you think that was helpful? How did you kind of find your way through, I suppose, what was a potentially knotty moment, but perhaps didn't get to that point? Perhaps that's what people were anticipating was going to happen.
I think the thing to recognize about challenging your limits, not limiting your challenges, is it is still challenging. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole point. This is not easy. Um, this is something that probably does feel a bit difficult to do. And so I think that's kind of part of the process, because you're probably doing something that you haven't done before, or you're doing something on top of what you're already doing. There's an element of the sort of courage zone stuff going on here, that
Yes.
we last year we wrote a book on top of our day jobs. That was a challenge. Like, that was definitely a challenge. It wasn't
Yeah.
easy at times, it was difficult. That was a challenge that we decided to do. We are now considering a PhD next year. That is a challenge that we will or will not decide to do. But so I don't wake up every day and go, today I'm going to do a PhD, tomorrow I'm going to write a book. But there are certain moments in time where I think you have to pick a challenge, and you recognize that challenge is a push beyond where you are today. But I think those moments where you might pick a challenge are the moments when other people will tell you to put it down. And what I'm saying is, like, if you pick the challenges that are right for you, and you put the right support around it, the stuff that we're going to talk about in the actions that I think work for me, I think you can kind of push past some of those things. And I don't think you should be constrained by other people's limits that they want to put on you.
And I suppose the upside for this, the like what would be better because of it, is I think this is how you explore your potential by doing things you've not done before, and also how you gain confidence that you can probably do more than you give yourself credit for. So I'm thinking about some challenges that people would set for themselves that you would never set,
Yeah.
like running a marathon for the first time.
I
Um,
mean,
who knows? Who knows though?
be challenging my limits.
This is the moment where she's like, no, I am going to. That I might question, but hey, who knows? But I know a couple of people who have done, say, like the London Marathon, who, weren't runners before, or, did it for a charity, or like they just set themselves, they perhaps would have previously limited themselves, or other people might have limited them to sort of go, oh, yeah, but you're not really like a runner, or you're not that into fitness or whatever. But they have set themselves something that's kind of gone beyond where they were before. And I think, some of the outcomes of doing this are very positive around both like capability and confidence, because almost it doesn't really matter what it is. Once you've done some of these things that feel just challenging for you, you probably then go, okay, well, then I could do that again. It probably looks and feels
Right.
different
I
every
get,
time.
we talk about with confidence gremlins, one of the things that helps you to cage a confidence gremlin is having kind of moments of pride. And
Yeah.
these moments where I've challenged my limits in my career are massive moments of pride. They weren't always easy, like back to the difficult point, but they were like moments where I had a lot of pride.
So let's move on to these actions. Now
Okay.
we've hopefully convinced, I feel like we've tried really hard to convince people that this isn't as relentless as it sounds.
Yeah, I hope not. No, I don't think. I'm looking at my actions now. I don't think these are relentless. Well, you can give me some feedback.
No, go on then. Action one.
Action number one, curiosity before commitment. So I think if there is a challenge that you want to go after, something difficult, maybe other people are going, oh, maybe don't do that. I think before you go, well, I am going to do it. I am going to start that PhD. I am going to do that new job. I am going to do whatever. I think aim for curiosity first. Like, don't blindly commit to things that are challenging. Go find someone who has done the thing you want to do. Go spend time just getting a bit closer to it so you can understand the reality of it. Understand what might need to change to make it possible. You're not trying to critique and kill it, but you are. I do think just before you say, I am going to do this, just having a kind of a moment where you are curious, I would aim for that first.
Yeah, it's almost doing a bit of due diligence, isn't it? Which doesn't sound as nice as curiosity, but we are really trying to kind of figure out, does this feel like the right challenge? Because I think it's not just about any challenge, it's about kind of the right challenge for you.
Like number two,
Okay, so what next? Yeah.
um, slow, don't stop. Okay, let me explain. So I think that, back to the, I'm not saying this is always going to be easy. Like if you're trying to do something new or on top of what you're already doing, it's probably not going to be easy. And there are times where it reminds me of the Banksy quote about when you get tired, learn to rest, not quit.
Yeah.
I think there are times when you're doing this that it will feel quite hard. And I think the temptation in there is to give up, in all honesty. Oh, it's too hard. I should have listened to what everyone said.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I've made a mistake. Shouldn't be doing this, and stop. And I think what is better in those moments is to just slow down and go, okay, maybe I can't make this work this week, but it's okay. Like I'll pick it up again on Monday.
Yeah.
Because I think there's often a lot of emotion tied up with that. Like
Mhm.
the, oh, it's too hard, it's too difficult, I'm doing it wrong, I should just stop it. I think there's often a lot of emotion. And if you slow down, sometimes the emotion goes away. And I think you can look at it a bit more objectively. So that's my second insight on it.
Yeah, I guess the point with any challenge, and there's certainly the challenges in the context we're talking about them today, is they're likely to be over a relatively long period of time. It's unlikely to be like a week or a
Hmm.
month, these challenges. And so the longer these challenges are, a bit like kind of the long wind stuff from Cath Bishop, you can't go at the same speed the whole time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if you talk about like the intensity of that challenge, there have been moments where that intensity would have felt like 90%, 100%. You actually do need to almost preemptively go, when are the 90, 100% moments? When are the 10% moments, knowing that's okay? That's the, I've really slowed down, but I've not quite stopped.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
quite helpful for people to make. I think I do imagine it as a bit of like a percentage, like where am I on that
But I
percentage
often
of
feel like
commitment?
speed is a choice. I feel like if I've committed to doing something, I'm committed. Like
Yeah,
decision made. But then speed is a choice. So even like
yeah,
use the PhD as an example, we have a view of how quickly we would like to do that. If we do it, we have a view of how quickly we would like to do it. And there could be a point in time where we go, do you know what? We did want to do it that quickly, but we can choose to do it. We could choose to take another year and we could choose to slow down so that this
yeah,
feels possible for us. But I think just think about slowing. Don't make the first thought stopping, and then you kind
yeah.
of, I think you keep going with it would be my thing. Oh, I don't need my phone for the last one because I remember what the last one is.
And then,
Celebrate the wins. Like celebrate. I think if you are challenging your limits, you deserve to celebrate your wins because it obviously, like, it is not easy. And there will be lots of good things you're doing. You might have got a brilliant bit of feedback from somebody who has seen that you're trying really hard on this thing. Or maybe you've decided you're going to start a newsletter and you reach like 1,000 followers of your newsletter. Celebrate that win. I think this links a lot with Angela Duckworth's stuff on grit, which
yeah,
I think you need for this. And she talks about, the progress and the positivity that helps you kind of keep progressing with the things that matter to you. And I think this celebrating the wins, helps you see progress because you're like, oh, I'm on the way. It's
yeah.
working. And then also helps you feel positive because you're kind of just recognizing the hard work.
Yeah, I think I was just reflecting on how we do that. And I don't think either of us actually are that motivated by it. Like we don't actually do it that often. But we do, I think if you look back through our WhatsApp scroll, which I would never want anyone to ever do,
Oh my
ever,
gosh, can you imagine?
because I just think people would never want to talk to us ever again. They'd be like, wow, there's relentless and then there's you two. But I think you could spot the WhatsApps where we both consciously go, oh, we should take a moment though to just recognize.
Yeah, we should recognize that that's a big.
I think that's probably sometimes something that you and I could both get better at. I think we both instinctively know it and feel it, but because we don't naturally spend that much, often we'll be quite on to like the next thing. I think there is a point about challenges of like, don't move on too soon. That ability to actually see the successes both along the way, the smaller successes, but then actually before you move on to the next thing, like just pause and feeling really proud.
Yeah, I do hold it. Like, I really do. The challenge your limits, don't limit your challenges. Though it comes back. It comes back to me in those moments where I almost have a little bit of doubt, or I hear that from other people, and I go, "Hang on a minute, Helen. Like, if you were going to challenge your limits here, what would it look like?" So it is quite propelling for me. It's not blind belief, but it is a propelling statement that helps me just kind of go, okay, well, how could this? Like the PhD is such a good example, because you could go, wow, that's a massive commitment. It's going to take loads of time. It's easy to say no to. But then if I go, well, if you were going to challenge the limits that you're creating for yourself or that other people are creating for you, what would that look like? And I just find that a much more helpful way of thinking about doing some bigger stuff I've not done before, a much more motivating way. So I guess that's how it's worked for me.
So I suppose if you're listening to this now, one of the things that you might want to do is just think about like, what does this look like for you? Because I think it is incredibly personal. Also, you might go, it's not for me. You know, the point is we've chosen some quotes / statements that really work for us. I think it is just as interesting if you've listened today and just gone, that just doesn't work for me. There's loads to learn from that. Like, well, why not? What is it you don't like? What would you use instead? Because the one thing we do want to prompt all of us to be doing, we all want to be continually exploring what we can do and our potential. And in my experience, people are usually, like they have more to give than they know. So I think that's kind of the point here. So whatever is going to propel you to sort of spend a bit of time in that courage zone, do things you've not done before. I think that's what you're looking for. That's the purpose of this, whether that is about challenging your limits or whether that's something different. Maybe just be asking yourself now, like, well, what would work for me?
Amazing. So hopefully you found it helpful. We would love some feedback. It's obviously the third episode of the series. So if you're finding it useful, if you have any quotes that have inspired your career, please let us know. We are Helen and Sarah at squigglycareers.com.
But that's everything for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you are listening during the summer, we hope you're having a lovely August, and we're back with you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.